Hi, welcome to another consonant analysis. This analysis is about Ted Bundy, and it's taken from an extract from a statement that he made, which is as follows. Sure, I get angry. I get very, very angry and indignant. I don't like being locked up for something I didn't do, and I don't like my liberty being taken away, and I don't like being treated like an animal, and I don't like people walking around and ogling me like I'm some sort of weirdo, because I'm not. So that's the quote. And for interpretation, I've put the subject details a specific MO. That's in the markers, which is like a way of doing things, a way of life. In Latin they say modus vivendi, way of life, which involves, if I can get my teeth in straight. Courting, followed by attack, death and negativity, atonement and relief, through to growth and finally well-being. So a cyclical mode of behaviour, perhaps indicative of his own experiences in earlier life. He is recreating what he knows. So he goes through a cycle, basically. And it seems to him, not to you or me, presuming you're mentally balanced as well as I am, it seems that he needs to go through some sort of like cycling, ending in killing somebody to actually get relief. So that's a normal relationship for him. And with regards to comments, I've put basically as a summary, this man was a bag of opposites, and it really comes across in the themes. So the manner of speech that he's used is absolutely awful, and I've characterised it like a decaying trout being sloshed around in a woman's open handbag, because it's absolutely horrible. You know, the way that he's actually this sample of speech, and usually when I'm doing analyses, I'm looking for speech which is what I call not idiomatic. In other words, it's not standard English that people use, standard phrases, and this certainly fits that category. It's absolutely awful, but it was very good from an analysis point of view. A lot did come out of it. Dichotomy of themes. One thing that you'll notice in the markers is that he tends to be opposites. You know, one thing and the other, like decay and growth, this type of thing. That rapidly comes across. So like some sort of like polarization going happening there. Hair. This is interesting. There's a marker specifically for luxuriant hair, and that's quite unusual. And sometimes with consonant analyses, you get odd artifacts which pop up, and it sort of like gives you cause to wonder, is that really relevant? Because you have to be judicious with regards to what you keep and what you actually take from the markers and what you actually leave, because you don't want to exclude anything which might be useful or beneficial, but then again, you don't want to flood the markers with irrelevant information. So anyway, I checked this out, and the marker with regards to hair, and apparently, yes, I didn't know about this, but one of the things that Ted Bundy used to do with hallmark was, and it's rather gruesome, but he used to chop off the heads of his victims and then proceed to do their hair and put makeup on them. And I didn't know that, so that is a valid marker in that respect. Pampering. The markers pamper a child, which is again pretty unique. You don't find it every day. It occurs with this person, and also it occurs in the analyses for R. Kelly and O.J. Simpson, and also at the time of writing this analysis report out, which I've had to redo because YouTube suspended my channel. I didn't actually put in Peter Sutcliffe, who was a serial killer from the UK, and aka the Yorkshire Ripper. So it actually occurs in his actual speech as well. Abuse. It's known that his grandfather was like abusive. In other words, he was a bit stern. And I put there are copious references to sexual, physical, and mental abuse in the markers, which there are. Apparently, approximately 50% of serial killers have prior experience of sexual abuse. So, query something to look into there. God, that's something which features prominently. Lots of markers that are commonly used to refer to God. And that's something which features with Peter Sutcliffe as well. However, with Peter Sutcliffe, he said that he was hearing voices, or he believed God was talking to him. Whereas with Ted Bundy, as far as I'm aware, that's not. As far as I'm aware, anyway, I might be wrong, but it's not something which he openly mentioned. It might be something which guided him, like he was hearing a voice, but as far as I'm aware, he didn't actually mention that as a factor in him committing murder. Water, this is just an odd one. There's several references to water, including pouring and urination. And I've just put, for further information on Ted Bundy, I suggest that to get a better feel for the case, like I did, you Google Ted Bundy sexual abuse. And obviously you'll find all this in the report, which I'm reading at the moment, which I've left a link for in the description below. So I've grouped, this was the first time I'd done it, and what I've actually done is I've actually grouped the themes under headings to make it easier for you to actually digest the information that's been pulled out, because I think the report's about 16 pages, so it's quite long. So the general themes are, and I won't go into detail with them, are development, interaction, expression, and that's your lot basically. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Ted Bundy, serial killer, eventually incarcerated, but not before he'd gone to town on a few victims. If you like the analysis, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hope you have a nice day, and look forward to seeing you in the next analysis.